3, 2, 1. Nice.
Just want to make sure it's at a good volume. Hello. That should be fine.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. Greetings.
Greetings. So today I am joined by one of my very best friends here, Kareem.
Hi there.
And before I go, I wanted to sort of just have this little interview, this little conversation between the two of us. It's like a time capsule for us.
Right.
I'm confident that 10 years from now, we'll
Right.
like look back at this and think about how fucking crazy and stupid we were.
Yeah,
So,
very true.
yeah. So I've come up with some questions.
Okay.
You have not seen them before.
I've not.
And feel free to just treat it like a conversation. Dope.
Lay it on me.
Let's get started.
Okay.
So we first met through a Facebook group chat.
Yes.
Berkeley.
Me.
Yes.
I messaged you.
Yes. I was going to ask.
Let's set that
yeah.
straight. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So like what do you remember about those first messages before we met in person?
Yeah.
Talking March through May kind of time.
Okay, so I remember being on the Facebook group
Mm-hmm.
and seeing your post, and I was like, he seems cool. I need a
Sure.
roommate.
Sure.
Remember we talked about like Troye Sivan
Oh,
and
God.
CS and
Sure.
making games and I don't know, whatever. And then that conversation, I just remember it being so like, oh my fucking God, you have an Android. It's a miracle
Yes.
I'm still talking with you.
Yes.
It's a miracle I'm considering being your roommate
Well.
when you have an Android.
Right. Well, we never became roommates, did we?
That's
So.
true, yeah. And I
what-
switched to an iPhone and we still
Exactly.
never...
So you reached out initially to inquire about being a roommate. I remember
Right.
that. I don't remember our first conversations, but I do remember sort of a theme that would plague the rest of our relationship.
Sure.
Is that we call to like talk for like 5 minutes and then we talk for hours on and on and on.
Right.
And this started before we even met each other.
Wow, I kind of forgot about that. We really talked for a while.
Yeah.
It was
before
like
we met.
hours.
And then of course I was worried that you'd be homophobic.
Right.
That was one of our
Yes.
first conversations.
Yes, that's right. And I remember you saying something like, just want to make sure that's not a problem. And I'm like, that's like you're almost validating if that was a problem for
Sure.
someone, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, actually, yeah, my
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about guys before we even met. Like we talked about David. Do you remember
Oh,
David?
God.
Okay, so then we meet. I
Right.
remember the first time
I
we
remember
met.
too.
I'm curious from your perspective, like
Yeah.
how do you remember that?
For me, it was I had just gotten to campus and I was getting tested. And I
Oh.
saw your like neon yellow
Right.
jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, that's Keith. Wow, he's fucking tall. It wasn't really feasible to talk to you. But then I saw you in front of Unit 3. I'm not
Right.
sure if we planned that or not.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, so we had planned to be roommates.
Right.
And then that year, Berkeley decided that there would be no such
No
thing.
roommates.
Yeah. And so because we had intended to be roommates, they put us sort of next to each other on
Right.
the first floor of Norton and Unit 3. I totally forgot about the testing part in the morning. But
Oh,
you're so
yes.
right, because I did not want to see, I did not want to meet you, like, because
Then.
I was nervous.
Right. Yeah, same.
And I think I was at the opposite side. Like I'd finished testing.
Yeah, you were
and had
well in
started.
front. Yeah. So I probably didn't even like make out your face, but
Right.
I could just tell.
Right. I do remember that my parents pulled up, I guess, like behind you in Unit 3, and we were walking towards Unit 3, and I saw you. And then I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to like say anything
Right.
because we're with our parents. You know, when
Right.
you're like, see someone from high school in like a
Yeah, you're
Walmart,
like, "Don't
and you're
worry."
like, we don't know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you started it. I think you were like, hi, Keith. And I was like, oh, we're doing this.
This is happening.
Yes. We did get a picture.
We did.
And it's
Insane picture.
It's the most awkward
We
picture.
look so different.
We look so different.
We're like so like starry-eyed, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Before everything was beaten out of us.
Yeah. So Milena, who is my current roommate, she was my neighbor
Right.
across from me at 3. She was directly across from me. My parents were like, you have to like introduce yourself. So I was like, all right, I'll introduce myself. And
Right.
I don't know, I guess that move-in time was just crazy adjustment. I think
Yeah.
you, me, and Milena maybe hung out like that night or the night after or something. I guess that first month was we mostly hung out like around
Yeah.
campus, and it was you, me, and Milena primarily.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious what drew you to Berkeley in the first place.
Oh.
Like, was
okay.
Berkeley your dream school? How did that happen for you? What sort of expectations did you have coming into Berkeley?
I never really thought of it as like a dream school because it kind of didn't seem like a feasible option, right? It was like unattainable, so I didn't like dream of going there. I think a lot pulled me to Berkeley. I mean, obviously, I like the kind of radical politics activism stuff.
Sure.
They also have like a very famous CS program as well, and it's in the Bay, which I was very into. But it was definitely a surprise. It wasn't in the cards. I was expecting to be in LA. So I think it's some combination of like the area, the politics, the prestigious or whatever program.
Right.
That's probably what drew me to it. But it was kind of like I applied because I did the UC app. And I was like, sure, why not? Like, I didn't apply to Stanford. I didn't apply to Ivy's. But I applied to that because it was like, you know, it was right there.
Right. Like, it wasn't my dream school either. But it was one of those things where when you got in, you're like, fuck,
oh shit, now I have to go.
Yeah, like this is once in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of crazy
like
thing.
my options before that were Santa Clara,
right,
which is very like preppy Jesuit.
Sure.
Not really my vibe. And Chapman, which is in Orange County, which isn't very engineering focused. And then right when I got into Berkeley, I also got into USC. But that was a little weird because I applied like CS and physics or something, so I would have to go through engineering.
Yeah.
And also, it didn't feel as right as Berkeley did for me.
But that first year, we didn't have to stay in the dorms. It was optional.
Yes.
So what made you choose, like even though we didn't have to go, what was like, all right, I want to go to the dorms?
Getting the fuck out of Orange County. That was the big thing. I wanted to change, and like the idea, and I'm grateful enough to like my parents for be like, yeah, go for it. You
right.
Because there's no real reason to do it. No. And it's very expensive. There was something that felt really not great about starting college in like my bedroom from high school, you know, like what's going on? Like this is supposed to be a major life shift, and I'm still going to be in the same house I've been in since I was like 10. But I think the primary thing was like having that separation between my high school and previous life to like my independent college life in a new place on my own.
Right.
I think was pretty important for me.
No, I felt that too, especially after being in Virginia for 18 years.
Right.
It's like, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, you went from one bubble to another.
Yeah, pretty much.
Same here.
For sure.
The record.
But yeah, we didn't step into a classroom that whole first year.
No, I think I snuck into like a bathroom once on campus.
That's more than I did. Do you think, bringing it back to Berkeley in general, the expectations you had about Berkeley, like, okay, you got into Berkeley.
Yeah.
It's like May through August, you're planning out how this college thing is going to look.
Right.
And those expectations that come with it. Do you think Berkeley has lived up to those expectations for you? Have they change? Like, it's sort of a broad question.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about Berkeley today?
Reflecting on it, like, I feel like I just didn't even know what I wanted or what was going to happen. Like, I'm trying to think of what I was expecting out of college, and I was just completely clueless. I had no idea. I was obviously very anxious about making friends and doing well in school, declaring CS. Now, my relationship with Berkeley is, like, probably the best it's been.
Sure.
I feel very comfortable in the people I have around me. I feel very comfortable in the classes I'm taking. I mean, they're still hard as fuck, but like I can stay afloat. I feel very comfortable with the area. First year was definitely the worst, just from being online, and I think the first year and a half were so overshadowed by declaring CS, because it really was one of the most difficult things I've done in my life, like especially academically. That was very rigorous, exhausting completely, and like so stressful. I do feel like I missed out a bit because of that. Like, it was so overwhelming. But I think after that, that was kind of the beginning of the healthy relationship with Berkeley, where it's like, now I feel very comfortable, and
you've done it a few times.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I'm in a great I think I'm in a good place with the school. Obviously there's some fucking bullshit, but there always is. It is still a little surprising when people are like, oh, it's the, you know, whatever ranked CS program. It's like, it's a shit show over here. like every semester, like the entirety of like core staff is on a threatened of being like fired or whatever. Like it is a nightmare.
I just wonder like how long all of these rankings are just not gonna notice. I'm like definitely waiting for it to crash down.
Yeah, I mean, from like an outsider's perspective, I could see
like
it, because it's like there's, you know, so many inventions invented here, so many like minds came out of here, but like it's a logistical nightmare.
I saw we discovered a whole row of elements. And
is it a whole row? I know there's
a row.
one.
No, there's like 4.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was like the 4th one where they decide to name it like Burke something.
Berkeley or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wrote a paper. It was like about deepfakes or something, and I quoted one of my professors.
Right.
That's kind of crazy. And like, you know, there's Nobel laureates or whatever as professors. There's that element of it.
Yep.
But like logistically, it's kind of a nightmare.
For sure. I have a couple more things from like first semester.
Okay.
Out of our like adventures from that first semester, there's a couple big ones that I remember.
Yep.
I'm curious if you have any like favorite moments from that, because I probably have a picture that I can show.
Oh, okay. One of the first big ones we had was like our day in SF. I remember we went to the fortune cookie place,
Yes.
which I went back to recently, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
I remember it
free
being
samples.
a little lame.
It's pretty lame.
Because it's like a fortune cookie factory, but it's literally
It's like a dark room, and the walls are just covered in like the owner. He's like obsessed with the police.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
No.
He's like obsessed with the police, and the walls are just covered in like framed portraits of him with like SF
my
sheriffs. It's hilarious.
I just remember it
They
being
have
like,
samples. I didn't buy
yeah,
any.
I just remember it being like a normal place where you'd buy fortune cookies or something.
Yeah, it was
I was
so
expecting
mid.
some like factory level.
Yeah, it was
craziness.
more like we're walking through Chinatown. It's like, ooh, I know I can get some free fortune cookie
Right,
samples right
right.
now. Yeah, so I remember that. Of course, the Stanford road trip, which is pretty legendary.
that was.
That was pretty fun.
Yep.
It was like surprisingly lame, and when we got there,
Sure,
like-
Stanford. Of
yeah,
course.
it was
They're
dead.
super lame.
where's everyone?
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
Classic Denny's,
Oh, of course.
which we're doing again tonight.
we're doing tonight.
That was
Yes.
the first one. We
That,
went
that
on.
was the very first one. Yes.
And it's so funny because for the first like 2 months we were here in Berkeley, we literally just stayed on campus.
Yeah.
Stayed in the area.
It was the first time leaving the city of Berkeley
Yes, exactly.
to Emeryville.
And we did it in like the worst way. We like went to a Denny's that's like not far away, and we bought an Uber to go there.
we got an Uber.
Yes. And then we went there. It was closed inside, so
we
we
had
eat
to sit in the parking
outside.
lot. Yeah, I remember this.
And then we walked to look at the city and like walked in this like swampy
Yeah,
thing.
the little jut out. Of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we were like, wow, this is like incredible.
Yeah, that was actually a very crazy moment for me. I remember it pretty vividly, looking at this view, and I was like, wow, like this is the new life.
It's college.
This is college.
Yeah.
And like the hundreds of miles away from the closest, the
Help.
closest family help.
Yeah.
Come with these 2 strangers at a random piece of land.
I also find it funny that the first thing we chose to do was like go to a restaurant that we've all been to
Like a
before.
chain around the country.
Yeah. Like that's just so indicative of
I
like
assume
how
that was
little
your
we knew.
idea, right? I'm trying to remember how that happened.
The only reason I remember these details is because I have a video on this.
You do on your YouTube.
Yes, this
Which
one.
is the I won't say blackmail, but like the one that I can find with great ease and therefore find your channel.
Sure.
But I
Because-
still have not done it.
Yes, because I do not tell my friends my channel name.
Right.
Because obviously, as you know, I like to gossip about them.
Right, naturally.
So like I'm sitting here and being so kind to you.
Right.
But
It's
behind
very
your back.
two-faced. Yeah.
My last video was I'm about to have this
Top 10
guest
reasons
and here's
I
why
hate
he's
Kareem.
horrible. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, you'll see it soon. I've committed to sharing my channel with these California friends once I leave.
Pretty crazy.
And
That'll be a lot of media all at once.
so true. You're gonna
A
love
lot of
them all.
hateful media about me.
Yes, pretty much.
Right.
That's the extent of it. No, I might private those videos before
Oh, thank
before
you.
I let you see it.
Remember when we decorated the dorm?
I
the
do
hallway
for Halloween.
for Halloween.
Yeah, that was pretty radical.
That was wild.
So our floor had like no camaraderie. I don't know. We just maybe waved to each other.
Yeah,
in
it was
halls.
very awkward.
Yeah, and we had this thing in October where every weekend we would watch a horror movie. So we watched 4. We watched Panic Room.
We watched
Hereditary.
Hereditary. That was my suggestion, I imagine.
I don't remember the others. Yeah, that one was your suggestion.
Yeah.
And then one of those weekends, I had earlier in the day went to the dollar store, Dollar Tree,
Right.
bought a ton of Halloween decorations, and we had this plan to watch our movie, so that way it was like late at night after.
Yeah.
And then decorate, so that way when people woke up the next morning, they would wake up to this surprise.
We did a fucking good job.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome. I remember I was very proud of the bathroom mirror. I don't remember what we did to it, but I remember that being like cool. Like, I
Yeah,
think
we had
put,
like
webs
some
up.
tape. Yeah, and
Yeah.
some webs and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Some
awesome.
caution tape. And then I also remember that other floors who like were low enough to walk down the stairs would pass our floor, and we definitely got comments about it.
Oh, for sure. Did we take credit for that?
I bet you I did. Yeah. We got into quarantine for 22 days because this person on our floor got COVID.
Right.
And so we were all like close contact. And for the first 14 days, we were stuck in our dorm room. We were not allowed to leave except for getting food from the dining hall and going back. No outdoor exercise, no walks, nothing. Stay in your room. And then the last 7 days, we were all shipped to Foothill, which is where they kept those who were in close contact.
COVID dorms.
Except for Kareem here. Kareem was not shipped to Foothill because they ran out of space for him.
Some arbitrary reason.
Yeah.
I remember being so anxious. God, there was just so much stress around that because it was like, you will fuck it up for your entire floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being so scared that when I was hanging out with my friends during like the tail end of your Foothill stay, that like I was gonna get COVID,
right?
And then you come back and then you go back,
right?
That was like, it kept me up at night.
Yeah. I mean, you had your bags packed and ready to go.
Oh, I was on the bus.
Yes.
To leave.
Yes. To
and
go.
they took me off the bus.
Right.
They said, your name is not on this
list.
Yeah. So what happened was everyone started getting phone calls because at this point we knew there was a exposure. But I think it was like Foothill's full. You're staying in your dorm. And we're like, thank fuck. But then people started getting phone calls like, space open back up, pack your things, I think it was like not a very long notice at all.
2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Like insane. And all these people were putting in group me. I just got the call. I never got the call. So I texted my RA and I was like, hey, I didn't get a call. Do I still, they're like, yeah, the whole floor is going. So pack your things. And yeah, I packed my things. And then even when they said get off the bus, they weren't like, there's not enough room for you. You're staying in the dorms. They said, we don't have you for this bus. Go back. We'll call you.
Right. And then they never called you.
I sat in my empty ass room, didn't unpack because I'm thinking, any second now I'm getting a call and I'm going. And they never officially told me, you're not going to Foothill. Just waited 2-3 days and I finally unpacked.
Yeah. Lucky son of a gun.
I guess so.
Okay. We're past freshman year. It's sophomore year. What are your main takeaways or like memories from sophomore year? I feel like sophomore year, personally, I was very busy with like working.
Yeah.
And then internship applying because I was doing it in 3 years.
Right.
You had a lot of like big personal things happen. And the ones that come to my head are moving in with Fiona, who's very awesome. That was definitely a personal highlight for me, was meeting her because I met her through you.
Right.
Like moving to outside apartment.
Yep. Off campus.
Yes, off campus. And then the big one, you met a girl.
Right.
You fell in love.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, spring of sophomore year. Sophomore year was pretty crazy because it started off very badly for me. I wasn't in a great situation with the people I was calling like my friends.
Yeah.
Like other than you. Like the other people who I had met.
Right. I remember that.
And it was kind of like end of freshman year, summer, beginning of sophomore year. That was like not great. I think what had happened was beginning of spring, a bunch of people were like, oh shit, Berkeley's a party. Everyone's having so much fun. I'm seeing all their Instagrams or whatever. So a lot of people who were like, I'm staying home, decided, you know what, I'm actually coming in the spring.
Yes, a freshman year.
And I mean, I think we all noticed the spike in people.
In cases.
Right. Yeah. And especially in cases, which is so funny because that fall was like the best it's been COVID wise. But yeah, but I think a byproduct of that is people, even within my friend group are like, oh my God, all these new people I want to meet. I think what ended up happening is more people were coming in and people were pushed out, like including me and Fiona. So we kind of just felt like we're on the peripheral, but it was also like these were people that we considered like close friends, but like it didn't feel the same way. So that was pretty hard over the summer because I was kind of just trying to make that work. Because I was kind of in a position where people who I had considered friends, like I didn't really see too much of a path forward. But then I met who are like my current close group of friends. I think once that happened, things were a lot better. It was a lot of, self-deprecation.
Like what you think college should be like versus
how
it was shaken up.
And like, it's like, why was it me pushed out of the group or stuff like that. So it was definitely difficult. And then also I was, taking CS70.
Just the last class you need to declare.
Right. And the hardest one for us, at least.
Oh, yeah.
We don't come from
that too.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yes.
So that was probably the peak of stress in terms of declaring as well. Like the stakes were pretty fucking high.
Right.
I either become this major or I don't do well enough and I don't, depending on the grade in this class. Like it was completely direct. Right. There was no layers.
And for both of us, it was pretty close in the end.
It was as close as it could have been for me. So yeah, beginning of sophomore year was very difficult from that perspective. But then also, you know, I really like the freedom of being off campus. Our apartment was like, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit small.
Yeah, I know we both had our kind of all right apartments.
Yeah, it was the first time we were trying to figure it out. Like, how do you lease a place?
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we lived nearby, which was very nice.
Classic. We did my birthday, which was really nice, and top of the mark.
Yes, that was great.
And we went up to Golden Gate Viewpoint when it was like really cloudy.
Super cloudy.
Yeah.
I remember I was wearing the worst outfit ever. I don't know if you have a photo from that night.
Oh,
I was really into my like colors in Orange
you come
County,
to Berkeley
but I just I never really cared about fashion.
Yeah.
But I got here and I'm like obsessed with jewelry and painting my nails and wearing all the colors. And I think I was like really experimenting with that freshman, sophomore year. Now I very much like, you know.
You found it.
I think I found it.
Found your style.
I found my style. A little more earth tony.
Yeah.
I feel good in what I wear, I think, now. But oh my God, I really went off the deep end because I was like, I can wear whatever I want and my parents can't say anything. Why didn't you say anything to me, Keith?
Because at Berkeley, if you're not wearing something crazy, you're not fitting in. Us wearing normal shit is an outlier. Yeah, I didn't think anything of it at the time. But I do have that video.
Not to flip the script, but for you were living off campus alone.
Yeah.
And I know that was difficult at times.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that first semester was okay because I was so busy working a job and doing school.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I don't know how you juggled that.
I didn't.
I guess you did drop 16B.
Yes, and I got a really bad grade in like a CS class.
Probably 61C, I think.
Yes, yeah. That first semester was okay. The only thing that was hard about it was I had a really loud banging sound in my apartment like every night.
I remember the first time I heard it, it like scared the fuck out of me and you were so unfazed.
And I had to like try and sleep through that and it never worked.
Yeah, that's rough.
Second semester was more tough because I had less going on. I quit my job. I was fully focused on school. But then in those moments where you're like not focused on school, you kind of come up with your own problems. And when you're alone, that is like a different type of silence.
Yeah,
it can be deafening. With the studio, it felt eerily similar to quarantine, which that first year our quarantine was like just a very traumatic thing for me. And so being in another box by myself day in and day out felt super similar. Another thing that you just don't think about is like when you live in a studio, every time you're hanging out with friends or you're like having social interaction, it's planned.
Yeah.
There is no coming home at the end of the day, just being like, oh, how was your day? You know, there's none of that.
That's a great point.
So it can make it harder to socialize because if you're not reaching out, other people are busy. They're like living their lives, you know, and they have roommates to get them to go to shit.
Right.
So if you're not reaching out or like setting up the shit, then it's just not going to happen. So that was tough.
For sure.
It was okay, but I'm definitely glad I moved in with Milena for this last year.
I think I can tell how helpful that's been for you. Just having someone around and like someone you can talk to.
I think by that point we were probably both getting a little bit tired of Southside, which is where all the dorms are and all the young people are. Just looking to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But what was it like meeting Sarah, your current girlfriend?
So going into spring, I think spring is probably the best semester I've had at Berkeley.
Really?
That spring. That would be
sorry, just the total difference.
Sure. You had some good stuff in there.
No.
You got your internship.
I did.
Anyways, I think spring I knew I had declared. So it was like this euphoric, I just need to not fail, which is so amazing. Right. To this day, I am so grateful that I can just, I just need to pass. Obviously, when you're fresh off of that, it's like better. You feel like you can conquer the world or whatever. And I felt like I was very happy with where our relationship was. Yeah. Because it got a bit rocky at times during sophomore year.
Sure.
Nothing ever crazy.
No.
But I think I was really happy with where we were at. I was happy with my new group of friends. I met Sarah.
Yes.
which is great. We met on Bumble. I think, I had met people at Berkeley, like girls I was interested in.
Yeah.
But it definitely felt like different with her. Like it definitely felt right, I think, which is nice. It's a nice feeling when it just kind of feels that way. You met her pretty early.
I mean, I remember thinking I made a horrible impression.
Right. That is actually interesting that it was, the second year and it was kind of the first time you met. Like that was an experience we hadn't had before, where it was like meeting someone's romantic partner.
Yeah. And that was an adjustment for me because all of my friends were getting romantic partners.
Right.
I was like, fuck. Like,
And at
what
the
is
same
this gonna
time, you
mean?
were like feeling more alone than you
Yeah.
probably had in a minute.
Classic.
And I still remember Valentine's Day. And
I do too.
basically what happened was me and Sarah it was going to be our second date. Evening, we,
Official.
few hours.
Yeah.
At least that was what was planned out. And it happened to be on Valentine's Day, which is pretty hilarious. That morning, her roommate found out she was exposed to COVID or something like that. So we realized it was going to be like not going to happen in person at least.
Yeah. It was going to be virtual.
Right. And that's what we ended up talking about. I think we said we'll maybe go on a little outdoor walk with masks on and then
Right.
do the rest on Zoom or something. And I remember being so
You were
upset and
crying
annoying.
over
And I
it.
was like, oh, this is the
Crybaby.
worst. And you were like, shut the fuck up. Because
Yeah. I was really lonely.
there was... And I was like, that is so valid.
Yeah. I was like, you have a date.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm doing tonight? Fucking
You said those words
having
verbatim.
a glass of wine.
Yeah, exactly. You literally said that verbatim. We were like- So that was like a humbling moment. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And then guess what?
She ended up testing negative PCR.
So
So
It all worked
it
out.
did still happen. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it went well. And it was funny.
yeah, I do too. Our second time meeting was also funny. Kareem and I had a midterm and
Right.
and after the midterm, Sarah was coming to meet Kareem and they were gonna like walk home or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. And we got out of the super hard midterm and Sarah's there and she has 2 hot chocolates. Obviously, one for Kareem, one for her.
No.
Super cute. We're walking home and she sees me there. And last minute, trying to be nice,
This is misleading.
she gives it to me. She's like, oh, like, and for you, Keith.
Not what happened.
And I felt so awkward. I was like, I am not supposed to be here right now. Yeah. That was our second
It
time
was
meeting.
very much for you.
Sure.
It was for us. She knew we were together. She knew we were walking out together.
So you said. So it took some time.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember, second semester, it took some time for me to get comfortable with Sarah. Just because I didn't know what it meant for your availability.
Yeah.
And more specifically, lots of people, especially when they're like 19, 20 years old,
Yeah.
meet someone new
Everything
and like
else stops.
disappear.
Yeah.
But I think probably by the time we came back in the start of our third year, I was like very comfortable.
Yeah.
And I love Sarah.
Yeah.
And I think she loves me.
Definitely.
Yeah. And now we're a throuple.
And now we're throuple.
Let's talk about now.
Okay.
Your junior year is over. My
Yes.
senior year is over. I'm leaving.
You're
in
leaving.
9 days.
You're leaving me.
Yeah, I know. You can come with me.
I literally can't.
I'll pay your way. So tomorrow you're starting your first big boy job, being a software engineer intern
True.
at a software development company.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm nervous for sure, because as much as I've coded and programmed shit over the years, it's never been for like a company. It's never been for work. I'm nervous about not being able to do anything. Which
Sure.
anytime I do something new, I have that fear, right? I think we all do. Like just freezing up and not doing anything. I haven't even looked at the code base yet, which I imagine is going to be extremely overwhelming. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous, but also excited. I'm very grateful I got something. I know a lot of people didn't.
I mean, I think even if you end up not liking this, that doesn't really say much about whether or not you'll like the field.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
it just says about this type of position.
That's true.
Regardless, you're going to learn so much.
Yeah,
over the
I
next
definitely will.
12 weeks. You've listed out, I think, very well your concerns.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most excited about?
I think I'm excited about actually seeing the day-to-day of probably what I'll be doing for a living. I feel like I've spent so many years learning and theorizing and whatever. So it'd be really cool to like actually start applying that knowledge, I think, and hopefully seeing that become real.
Right.
I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. And having something on my resume. Something that's not education or
Sure.
like something real.
Speaking of school, going back to this past junior year,
Yeah.
reflecting on that, how do you feel about how junior year went?
Junior year was great, I think. I think fall was stressful for sure. Like trying to lock down the internship. It's probably one of the worst times to be an intern / new grad right now.
Yeah.
I sent hundreds and hundreds of applications and hardly got any replies. So it was very stressful in that way. But I think it taught me a very important life lesson, which is like, don't live your life in the mentality of just got to get past this thing, because it's never that simple and you will never be satisfied.
No.
For me, it was always just get past the declaration.
Yeah.
Which
There's always like
was
another
a big thing.
Yeah.
But then it's the internship. Then it's
New grad.
Then it's
Managerial.
salary, location,
Yeah.
house, kids, car, baby, it will never end.
No.
And I think I'm grateful that that I've learned that lesson a little earlier.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely something I want to live by. But yeah, definitely still stressful at times. But also, like I said, I think I'm the most comfortable at Berkeley now.
Right.
In terms of the people I'm with, the people I'm around, the course load, the area. I feel very comfortable here. And I'm very happy as well. So I think this has been like the most hassle-free year.
I agree. I think it's the year we maybe first, like, for me, this was the first year where I felt like, okay, this is a routine.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I don't have any strong opinion about Berkeley.
That is saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. This year's felt calmer. It's
Yeah.
come with its own struggles.
Of course,
and stuff, but
Relative to the first 2 years, it was pretty minor, at least for me.
I mean, mine were major
That's
in
true.
some ways, but I feel like they dominated less of my life.
Yeah. We just came off of a pretty time-consuming class.
Yes. Where, by the way, we met an awesome
An awesome guy.
project partner.
Awesome project partner, Ethan.
Who knows this YouTube
Who
channel?
knows if maybe he'll watch this.
You think he'll get an hour into this?
Maybe not.
But it will be here for him.
But he's, we are his two favorite people. So
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think, like, obviously reflecting, I really did like that. I think, like,
Yeah. I was
those late
thinking this
nights,
too. I was thinking
that was
too.
really fun.
It was fun.
Especially now that we know, like, we got fine grades.
Yeah. We took like one of the hardest computer science classes. Probably the hardest we've taken so far.
Yes, operating systems.
Yes. And we met a third project partner.
Yes.
Who is awesome. His name is Ethan. Shout out.
Shout out Ethan. We love Ethan.
And I feel like, yeah, our dynamic was a lot of fun
It was.
this
Yeah.
past semester.
Yeah, I think it represents our position at Berkeley now pretty well. Like that experience in that class.
It's definitely the best of like Berkeley in terms of what you expect from Berkeley in terms of its like rigor, but also just like the people you're gonna meet and the experiences you're gonna have.
Exactly. I think we only really could have done that if
Now.
we were, with how comfortable we are now.
Next year is the big year.
Yeah.
It's your senior year. How are you feeling about it? Are you
Feeling
excited?
good. I think senior year, I'm stepping back a bit. Yeah, I'm there's been some obligations I've been doing, which I really enjoy doing, but I think I really want to focus on spending time with people, because I think
last time.
it could be the last time ever, which is crazy. I feel like I want to make up for first year pandemic, second year CS declaration. So, I work as a TA. I'm not doing that next semester. I'm just taking a break from a club that I'm in, at least while I'm also needing to apply for jobs.
Yeah, I think those are good goals to have going into senior year. Those are some of the same goals I had,
Yeah.
especially at the end.
How do you think that went for you?
I think I did my best when it came to those goals, and I think I did a good job of like balancing living and being responsible. Where do you hope to go after all of this? Like
Regionally?
geographically, job wise, like do you like to envision your future like that?
A bit. It does stress me out at times. It's a little tricky with Sarah as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like I want to envision that with her, but it's also like, what if we want to go to different places?
Right.
So it can bring up some, envisioning the future like that can be a bit scary and stressful. And ideally, at least right after college, I'd like to maybe stay here. I really enjoy it here. My brother's up here, still pretty close to home. I like how there's still a lot of nature here, but you also get the kind of cool urban environments with good public transit and stuff like that. So there's a lot going for me here, I think. I recently went to Seattle and Portland.
Right.
Both very cool. Could definitely see myself there as well. In terms of work, probably just what my internship is, like the job, like
Software
engineering. Company, I don't really know. I don't know how much I really care. Like, it'd be really cool if it's something I think is, something I use. I think it's very interesting. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not really going to live to work.
Yeah, your goals in life are more about starting your new adult life post-college than like specifically getting the perfect job.
Exactly. And chasing the perfect job is always going to be disappointing. So I think I want to keep an open mind as to where I work.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like I want the freedom that comes from working.
Do you see yourself staying in a SWE position? Do you want to be coding for the rest of your life? Or do you think that 10 years from now, you'll be sick of it and want to like move up?
No idea. I could see myself getting sick of it and maybe moving to a more like managerial kind of thing. I don't really know. It is difficult to make any guess on that, because I just genuinely have no idea. I don't even really know exactly what specialization I want to kind of pursue or anything like that. I definitely don't have like a very workaholic kind of mindset when it comes to work. It's definitely just like, I really want to enjoy life. Like, if I have unlimited time off, like, I will be using that. I don't get a lot of my validation from my work or the companies I've started, or I think I come from a family of people that kind of do. Like, my dad is very much a workaholic, and I don't think that really ever appealed to me. Like, I really want to do something I think is interesting and I think is like cool and I find enjoyment in. That's kind of where it ends, I think. So yeah, I think that's kind of how I think about it.
I guess my last question for you.
Wow.
Aside from career, are there any other life things that you're excited about or hoping for, or things that are maybe coming up that you're looking forward to in the next, I don't know, like 10 years?
Whoa.
I know, big question.
Yeah.
But I think this will be the most fun for you to look back on.
I think like having a place to call my own, more long-term call my own, would be really cool. I feel like that would be a really big milestone. Maybe having a pet. I'm not really sure. I mean, the idea of having like kids is so far out for me. I'm not even...
By 30?
I don't know. I don't have a due date. I don't even like fully know about
fair.
Children. I think that's mostly what I'm capable of thinking about right now.
It's like home.
A more a home, basically.
Well, thank you. I look forward to watching this back with you 10 years from now.
Yes, likewise.
Yes.
Look forward to you editing the 5 times we had to restart the video.
Dude, it's gonna be, we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's hour 32 on here.
I've never had to edit something this long. My computer is gonna catch on fire.
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining, Cream.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.